Okay, we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of Toast the Talk. Today, we've got some new panelists and some old ones. Let's get started, starting with the ever observant and funny Arun Sriram. Welcome. Our second panelist is making his debut today. His name is an amalgamation of two great mythological personalities, Bharat and Ram. So, welcome, Bharatram.
Thank
Our
you for having
third
me.
pleasure, Bharat. Our third panelist is a self-proclaimed tea drinker on World Coffee Day. Welcome, Rishabh. And our fourth panelist, Facebook wall says, I am SHER. I am Sher. Welcome, Tejas. Good afternoon, gentlemen. And now let's get started. So, first comment is ladies first. So, we will go with the Indian women's team. What are your thoughts? How good has Smriti Mandana been, Deepti Sharma been, and our bowlers been?
It's been amazing, right? Apparently, the Indian women team just got 2 days exposure to pink ball before the test started. And boy, have they killed the place right now, man. Absolutely stunning. To score in excess of 300, apparently they beat quite a few records on the way. The second wicket
Yeah,
partnership, or the time till the second wicket fell, that's
yeah,
perhaps the second longest in the history of cricket against Australia, right? So they just fell behind some record of 1935 scored by England. And then apart from the 377, again, I think is one of the highest scores scored in a test match against Australia, if I'm not mistaken. So, and of course, Smriti Mandhana, stunning. Shefali Sharma, she will live many lives more to score her 2030. But yeah, Jhulan Goswami, absolutely amazing. Super thrilled to see the way the Indian women have performed.
yeah.
Glad that
I
you
think
touched
Julan
upon
and who's the other bowler? I forget her name, but I mean, both of them had the magical spell yesterday. So, sorry, go
Pooja
ahead. Tejas.
Vastrakar.
Yeah, Vastraka.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that Arun touched upon Jhulan Goswami, right? Yeah, we just have to take a moment to celebrate a bona fide legend, right? I mean, she's 38. She's swinging the delivery. Not even the Aussie bowlers could get that kind of swing. She contributes with the bat. She's good with the ball. You don't need to hide her in the field. And she's mentoring all these newcomers. It's just amazing what she's done to Indian cricket for the last 17 years. At least I remember watching her since 2003, 2004. So it's just amazing what she's been doing, flying under the radar every single time, but just giving it her best at the age of 38, where, at 38, the fittest of athletes and just hang up their boots and go back and enjoy their retirement life. But she's there, she's doing so many things for the team. It's just amazing. Just a bona fide legend. Is just I want to bow down to one
Yeah.
of the greats of Indian cricket.
I think she's giving new goals for cricketers, right? I mean, 30s, late 30s is the new late or early 30s or something like that, right?
Yeah.
38. I think she's probably going to go on till 40. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just saying that, it kind of goes back to the one thing, that how Indian women cricket team has evolved over the last 2 years or so, right? And I did call this out in the last episode, that the way this team has transformed over the last 2 years has just been phenomenal. There wasn't much talk that was around 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Honestly, and I did not follow as much Indian women's cricket team or women's cricket team as much over the last 2 years, but it's the last 2 years that have changed the game, changed the mindset altogether. So, and the credit goes to all of these folks who have continued. Mithali Raj has been phenomenal with regards to the other aspects that are there, and everyone else with that. Even Shefali Verma today got a half century, right, in the fourth, on the fourth day, which is still ongoing, right? So, I think the cricket has evolved, and we need to look at what more can be done to give them the basic impetus that we can from our end. As we had called out, right? Like, maybe a better scheduling would have helped so that they get more views, they get more support from the Indian fans and the fans around the world. Would just be the basic and the right impetus for them to, further evolve and grow as we speak, as we move forward.
That's a good point to make, Rishabh, because my request or maybe our request to ICC and BCCI is please make this a 5-day test, right? With the women team across the world, Australia, India, England, New Zealand. I mean, they are top class. So I think it's a disservice to them by doing a 4-day test. And two, for God's sake, one off test. Can we at least have a 3-test series? It's definitely going to challenge. We'll get to see both the teams being challenged, but I think it's just fair to give them a test series and not just one off test.
This is only the second test match the Indian women are playing after a big gap. The England test was the first one, and I think this is the second one.
Correct.
It's unfortunate that some time was lost due to rain, because a win in this test would give either team the series. Whether it's Australia or India, the team that wins would win the whole series. The format of this whole tour is such that the points gathered over all three formats count at the end of it. So I think the Indian women are trying to declare now or in quite some time, so that Australia try to chase it and lose wickets, or probably Australia will give up on the way. So a draw would, if it's points shared, then India would have to win all three T20s, and defeating Australia in T20s is quite difficult.
Yeah,
we had seen the World Cup.
But let's pray that the Indian women win, and let's hope this is the impetus for BCCI and ICC to get them on par with the men, right? I don't necessarily see why women's cricket should be treated differently. Okay, we quickly moving on to the flavor of the season. I'm wearing red and black. I don't think I'm going to hide my allegiance to which team. So on IPL, let's start from where we left off last week, right? Once we finished our show, I think RCB did a great job. So I want to start with Harshal's hattrick. I'd like you guys to pick which one was your favorite wicket amongst those three.
For me, Pollard's wicket completely deceived him in the air, which is very difficult with the kind of batsman that Pollard is, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty good at picking length, but it just curled in and then he just missed it, and the leg stump. It was simply a stunning slow ball. All three of them were slow balls, but I think the middle one anyway is a difficult ball in a hat-trick, and I think he executed it brilliantly.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say it was a middle one because it's a hat-trick now. When he was bowling, no one really knew that it was going to go for a hat-trick, right? And I would agree. For me, it was again the second wicket that he had taken, which was for Pollard, because Pollard has a habit of shuffling across the crease quite often, not very often as someone like Steve Smith or someone else, but picking that bit up from his body language, ensuring that he has a slow delivery right on the mark, and then deceiving, as mentioned by Tejas, in the air. I think that wicket was the best of the three, if you ask me, for me as well.
Yeah, for me, I would say Rahul Chah's LBW was the best one, because the only thing slower than that ball is RCB winning an IPL title. So the ball kept coming for a long time, and finally hit his pad on foot. Yeah.
Thank you, Arun, for giving us so much hope. Bharat, what's your pick?
Context-wise, that must have been Pollard's, but sheerly by skill, I would agree with Mr. Arun. That was the ball to Chahar, because Chahar probably expected a full toss and then had to jab his bat down, and by the time he came down, the ball had already hit his foot. That was excellent. It reminded me of the ball Bumrah bowled to, I think, Marsh, was it?
Marsh.
During India's previous tour to Australia.
It
was baffling. And the batsman facing third ball is probably expecting the ball coming into him. So he's trying all his best to prevent that. And Harshal still got the best. That was good.
Yeah. I know. I mean, that was a magical moment, right? Magical moment which pretty much inspired RCB back into winning ways. So yeah, the jury is three.
Sorry, before you go to the next question, I just want to tell you that I feel like Sunil Gavaskar when Bharat mentioned Mr. Arun. Okay, you can call me Arun. Okay, you don't have to call me Arun Bhai, Mr. Arun, and all of that. Okay, feel free. Back to you, Sunil.
Respect is. Okay. So the jury is out. I mean, it's 3 for Pollard's wicket and 2 for Rahul Chah. 3 because even I love Pollard's wicket. Okay, moving on to the second controversial topic. Should we open the spirit or let the genie out of the bottle? The spirit of the game discussion between Morgan and Ashwin and whatever is being happening on Twitter. Any of you want to talk about it? Do you guys agree, disagree? You can pretty much go wild on this section.
Yeah, I'll take the seniority cue on this. Okay, I'm going to go first on this. Mr. Arun, let me have my word, okay? I think absolutely fair whatever Ashwin said. I think it's about rules of the game. I recall there was this little incident in the next match when KKR was playing, and Owen Morgan had just hit the stump with his elbow, and the appeal went to the third umpire. Not that Morgan asked for it, but Morgan never told the umpire either, saying that don't go for an appeal because it was actually my elbow. I think it's all contextual. You can say what you want, but I don't think one player has any right to talk about another player who's playing within the rules of the game, especially not on the field. And I think kudos to him to stand by what he's said on Twitter subsequently. So for me, it is pretty much black and white there. What Ashwin did was absolutely fair, and there's no question to. I wouldn't disagree with it one bit.
As Mr. Arun Sriram said, I totally agree with him. I also feel that when you're playing the game and you have certain rules, and if you are following the rules, you cannot go and call someone a disgrace. Absolutely not. Should we say the same when England claimed the run in 2019? Do we call them a disgrace? No, right? You cannot call someone a disgrace. He's playing within the rules. And I think he's always, Ashwin is targeted because of his man-kidding days as well, which I am totally for, actually. I am actually for man-kidding. No one should get an extra inch illegally, which is properly fine. A slight thing with Ashwin is maybe he goes on onto it for a little longer than needed. I feel there was no need for him to, come up on Twitter 2 days later after the match and give all the explanation. He's bigger than all those things. He's a legend of the game. I mean, if anyone says otherwise, maybe we can have a discussion offline. But he's too big for all these things. You just focus on your cricket. If there's a T20 World Cup coming in, just know what's happened on the field. Let it be there and just move on. That's the only concern or rather complaint, from my side for Ashwin. But I think Morgan calling him a disgrace is a disgrace in itself.
I would rather say that, I like the fact that he came up on Twitter and called that bit out, because it was, even after that particular day on the incident, and as Sehwag also called out, that it was probably Dinesh Karthik was a major culprit for actually revealing what happened inside the cricket or the ground as such, right? What really happened is, even beyond that day, the conversation kept going on, and I think that is what urged him to, come up on Twitter and actually call out and present his side or his opinion or his mindset as to what was really going on from his end. And I to be honest, prefer that he called that out on Twitter. And one thing that I would really bring to everyone's attention, if you haven't followed this, that when this entire thing came out, right, they were, of course, as everyone goes out, all the experts, as we call it, from different parts of the country, they came up, they picked up a side, right, where they picked up, even KKR had an official post, whether who was right, be it Ashwin or Morgan or anything of that sort, right? One thing that I noticed was Shane Warne had actually gone out and said that that was utterly shameful, it was not really needed and as such. But what I really love about internet is that you can dig up someone's past irrespective of how much you try to hide it, right? The only thing that I would probably call out, and which is what I liked about Ashwin's response, is that Ian Morgan or anyone else for that matter has their own perspective of the cricketing world, and they have every right to believe what they believe in, but they do not get a right to judge someone else. You see, the reason why I brought up Shane Warne's point is when the entire sandpaper incident happened, he had called that it was a silly mistake that had happened from Smith. So sandpaper incident is a silly mistake, but running an extra run is a shameful incident. So words don't quite fit in, and I think that's why I agree with whatever Ashwin had called out, which is everyone has their own perspective of what is morally correct, what is morally incorrect, but that does not give you the right to judge someone else. And I think that right there, for me, was the testimony that that stands out. You cannot get anything past, you cannot get anything better than that.
My point is, people take social media too seriously. I think it should just be there, just as a entertainment and side stuff. And the serious thing, they're big guys. They can settle these things inside the ground. They can go into each other's dressing room, have a drink, and discuss it over. And there's no need to have this drama or Twitter where crores and crores of people will just get even more material to talk about. It's just settle it down. You're big boys, is what I feel.
Well, that's the whole point, right? The PR team would have called a person and said, "Sir, opportunity to increase the number of followers, sir. I know it's been 2 days, but you definitely need to, comment on this. Controversy sells, right?"
Was this particular thought in your mind when you added this question? Controversy might get you more followers for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
In Australia, there was another part of the spirit of cricket coming up when one of our batsmen walked after being adjudged not out by the umpire.
Oh, yes.
That happened.
Yes, that's a great point, Bharatram. I think Poonam Roth, nobody. And I think somebody was on the mic with the broadcaster, right? I think it was an Aussie player. And when Poonam Roth walked, I think this player categorically said, if it was me, I wouldn't have walked. So that's a great example, right? If the same thing would have happened to an Aussie player on the field, they have come out publicly saying they wouldn't have walked, but the Indian woman batsman Poonam Roth walked. I think that's just a great example of what spirit of the game is.
Stuart Broad once said that, I think this happened on Twitter. There was a banter with some user who said, even if you were bowled, you wouldn't have walked. And Stuart Broad said, of course, I would have asked the umpire to check for no ball. So
fair enough, I feel. It's okay. I mean, it's commendable what Poonam Roth did, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, umpire is there to do his job, right? I mean, it's okay. Don't walk. You see the finger, you go out. That's simple.
So, okay, moving on from the spirit of the game, I want to talk about, is there a new spirit which has entered into PBKF? Like from losing matches in the last over to finally they won a match. Have they turned a corner? Or have they got the selection right?
I think that would have been more credit to Kolkata Knight Riders than Punjab to give them the game.
Yeah, where is Arijit when you want him?
You mean Kolkata dropping so many catches?
We could end this show right there. Like that was a mic drop and done.
Oh man!
No, I think they got both right. Team selection is a little consistent. Having Shah Rukh Khan to give that power at the end is a nice, good decision to go with. And also, there's still a little bit of a problem over there with KL. Actually, I've seen him so many times now. He gets off to a good start, plots around in the middle. And then in the end, when it's time to finish the match, he gets out. And he has done it some 4 or 5 times, according to my memory. There's still a problem there, but it was refreshing to see someone like Shah Rukh Khan, who was benched for a long time, to come out and win a match for a struggling side like Punjab Kings. And they're back into the fray now.
Strategically, I never understood this. Shah Rukh Khan played really well in the first leg of IPL. Ravi Bishnoi played really well in the first leg of IPL. They go to UAE and both of them don't feature in the 11. I'm flabbergasted at what is the think tank thinking.
I think it's got to do with, Ravi Bishnoi's case is a special case. Apparently, he has some disciplinary issues. And Mr. Kumble, you have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You put a single toe out of your line, you're out. You're out of the even picture. So Ravi Bishnoi is learning it the hard way under probably the best leg spinner India's ever produced. But yeah, with him, we can, there's a slight bit of problem of discipline. But Shah Rukh Khan, I think with the combination mashup, there's a little bit of confusion. I think now they've found the right 11.
Yeah, I like three things actually, Suraj. One is Anil and strategy are never connected, be it Ambani or Kumble. Okay, so not too great with it. And secondly, I don't know if assist is a sporting term in cricket, but the way the deep fielders did for KKR for PBKs, I don't think anyone would have done it. Yeah. And successes can sometimes hide some mini failures. Pooran still continues to play, and my heart bleeds.
That's because Gale now gone out of the bubble, right? He says bubble fatigue. I want to refresh. Gale at 42. Whatever he says, he's the universe boss. I'm sure he has every right to kind of get what he wants. But maybe that's probably the reason why Puran's playing. But yeah, I mean, it's Puran and Hetmeyer are two people whom I can't figure out, right? Great, abundant talent, but yeah.
Balancing the universe. They're balancing the West Indies side as well. Yeah.
No, for that we have Andre Fletcher, the Spice Man. He balances out so many things.
Gosh. But that reminds me. I mean, the middle four now with the game yesterday. Before we get to the middle four, anybody wants to talk about any RR fans in the house? Like what is with ex RCB players?
I would really want to take this moment and say that not everything has to do with RCB. I just feel that RR. I just feel that I've been very vocal about this. RR always every year has a good, a unit. It's just that their management, even the captain, hasn't really taken the decisions that they need to step up as a team. Right? Every time we see that someone is performing or is not performing, they are very quick in making decisions. They're very quick in keeping the player out, even if that player is extremely talented. And they're just supporting someone because for goddamn reasons why. You see, Rian Farrar was in the match. Even he's a player who's not bowling, who hardly bats and is still there even if he's not performing. They never really supported or bagged Shivam Dubey or Tabrez Shamsi currently or Shreyas Gopal for that matter. So it's just that it's a strong unit. I still feel it's a strong unit. It has lots and lots of potential. The decisions is what has been stopping them. And we saw that yesterday. They have been backing Yashasvi Jaiswal for quite some time, and it's resulting in giving the results now. Shivam Dubey, I mean, he was just extraordinary yesterday. So you just need to trust and give support to your players. Ruturaj Gaikwad, I think there's a post that has gotten extremely viral now, that the first three scores of his individual scores in IPL 2021 were 5, 5, and 10. And Stephen Fleming gone on to record saying that irrespective of what, you're going to support him in the entire tournament. And look, the results that he's getting, he's producing now for CSK. So as a captain, as a coach, you need to trust your players, you need to support them. And I think once you do that, they would give you results. You see Shubman Gill for KKR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
someday
while we are at it, Rishabh, sorry, Arun, before you come in, Rishabh, would you put your money on RR to make it to the top 4?
Heart says yes, but with the whole net run rate thing still majorly influencing the middle 4, I see RR again in the same spot that they have been over the many years, which is 5th or 6th. That's the usual spot for RR. I mean, just like we always assume that CSK and Mumbai would probably end up in top 4. For Rajasthan, it has always been either a 5th position or a 6th position. They're always at the brink or at the thin line, and they never make it. So probably no. I still want them to, but I don't think they would be able to because of net.
Very balanced approach. Okay, cool. Sorry, Arun, go ahead.
No problem. No, to me, Rajasthan Royals, the Jimmy Shergill of Indian Premier League. When they first got launched, a big production house, they went ahead and won the trophy as well. That was the first outing. After that, if you look at it, they are meandering somewhere, come through somehow during the second half of the movie, and then finally give it off to somebody else and go into the side rails again. That's pretty much how Rajasthan Royals has been operating over the last 3-4 years. They suddenly pick up from match number 10 to 12, and then they'll again give it, win a consolation prize, and go. There should be some consolation prize sponsor, I'm sure, for Rajasthan Royals.
Okay. Mumbai and so anybody thinks Mumbai is down and out? Anybody in this panel wants to bet another late revival for Mumbai?
And with Punjab around, I can bet on anyone else. Not a problem. But looking at the net run rate situation currently, I think Punjab are the favorites to get into top 4, at least for me. So
okay,
I have a soft spot for them as well, so we can understand.
So there's basically no support for Mumbai. Nobody here believes there'll be a late revival.
No, I mean if they come into the playoffs, they're going to win. That is the problem.
Yeah.
Which they are totally capable of. New pitches for the playoffs. Good batting wickets, and you'll see Rohit Sharma just in his peak avatar and blasting it out of the ground. So,
But I
yeah,
mean,
if they come to the playoffs, they're winning.
so that's a good point. Did Avesh Khan find a chink in Rohit Sharma's armor? I mean, I read some reports that he bounced Rohit Sharma out. This is Avesh Khan 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, I won't read too much into Rohit Sharma's performance this IPL. I think he's just, playing it safe, just saving himself for the World Cup because they're out anyways.
That just raises serious concern with the whole contingent that Indian team has for the Cricket World Cup, right? Many selected members haven't been able to perform, and most of them are out of form, and that again raises serious concerns of what we are looking at really with the whole IPL, with the whole T20 squad.
Yeah, I think two people over there, Hartrick and Bhuvi. I think these two are I'm at least very concerned about these two. I might even go ahead and say maybe we have to get in Avesh Khan in place of Bhuvi. I don't know what to do with Hardik Pandya's situation, but I think at least for solidity, I feel Avesh Khan is a better bowler currently on form than Bhuvi.
The batsmen selected to the squad, I haven't seen them perform as satisfactory as one would expect before a tournament. Ishan Kishan, Rohit Sharma.
Given how things
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that given how things have evolved, probably Venkatesh Iyer stands a very good chance. I know it's too early for us to take that call, but he's someone who not only bats but gives you an option of a part-time bowler, a couple of death overs as well that we have seen him do for KKR. So assuming that Ishan Kishan or Suryakumar Yadav has recently started gaining, he's getting into the good tune as such. But if let's say Ishan or another opener is in a bit of a recession, maybe it's too early, but we can consider Venkatesh Iyer or someone else as well.
I just hope Sky makes it to the Sky finds the form again. I really think he's a great player. I mean, I'm probably more speaking from the heart here, but I really want him to perform well for the Indian team because I think he deserves. But I know he's going through a lean patch.
Yeah, the one Indian that I can bet on who will perform really well in the T20 World Cup would be Nitin Menon. I put my money on him.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, definitely.
I think he's rested for the IPL, if I'm not mistaken. So that he
No, he's there. He was there.
He's there. We watched
No.
Nitin Menon.
Currently, he's the best umpire in the world. No doubt about that. Easily the best umpire.
Okay, folks, we're almost at the end of our end of the segment today. So, top four teams, there's Chennai, there's DC. I mean, they've qualified. How many of you want to bet RCB will make it?
I mean, they'll make it to playoffs, sure, but nothing more.
Good. Thank you for being nice to me, finally. And
but nothing more. That's it. I mean,
that's okay. Playoffs is the first stage. We'll get there one step at a time. And who do you think would be the fourth
They would
spot?
probably change the slogan, is it? From Isala Cup Namde to Isala Playoff Namde. That's a good.
That'll be ESPN proper.
Okay, who's fourth? Who do you think would make it to the fourth spot?
Punjab for me.
I would go with KKR.
KKR for Arun. Bharat, what did you say?
KKR.
KKR for Bharat. Okay. Rishabh?
I still believe in Rajasthan, but I mean, let's see. RR or KKR?
RR or KKR. Okay. You're playing safe. All right, folks. Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. Thank you for